Hi everyone! In this video, we're going to talk to you about our experience flying with our pet in the cabin from Colombia to Brazil. Our flight from Colombia was from Bogota, but before that, because we were staying in Medellin in Colombia, we had to fly from Medellin to Bogota and then Bogota to Sao Paulo. We went to a clinic in Medellin that we found, and we communicated with them and we told them that we needed travel documents for our dog when we are leaving Colombia going to Brazil. And the clinic prepared the documents, but unfortunately in our experience we cannot recommend them because of reasons that we're gonna tell you about shortly. They didn't know what exactly needed to be done, so they had to make several phone calls and they asked us a lot of questions about what we needed to have on the document. And we were, from our previous experiences in other countries, we expected the clinic to know that already, but as much as we could, we helped them and they gave us the document. And they told us that, okay, this is what you need to fly out of Colombia. The cost for this health certificate that we obtained from this clinic was 220,000 pesos, Colombian pesos, which is almost equivalent of 47 US dollars.
And it's very important also on top of the cost of the clinic and the health certificate to include the cost of including the dog in your ticket, in your plane ticket. In our case was with Avianca, and they charge 135 US dollars to include the dog for international flights. And for us it's very important to also to suggest that you do all of that over the phone and not at the day of your flight, because this can complicate a lot. So do it before your flight over the phone, which is something that we found that it's very easy for the day that you're flying.
So once we got the health certificate from the clinic, and also we contacted Avianca and paid the fees to include our dog in our itinerary, the day of our flight we went to the airport, and at the counter in Medellin they told us that you need to have the expert permit to fly, and we said, but we were told that in Bogota we can do it. They said, oh yeah, okay, so if your next flight is from Bogota, you can get this permit in Bogota. And we had, I think, 2 hours layover, or
2 hours.
two and a half hours layover in Bogota. So we said we have enough time to go and pay these fees. And then after that, fly to Sao Paulo. So in Medellin, we didn't really worry about it. The check-in was smooth, we did everything. We went to our gate, and we were lucky because we went to the gate when they started boarding, actually very early. And it was the first time in my life that it actually happened, that at the gate, they passed my boarding pass, and the system said access denied. I was like, okay, what is going on? Why? At the gate we did the check-in, we have the boarding pass. How come? I really thought that there was something wrong with the system, that it didn't let us pass. Then the Avianca staff at the gate told us that no, you need to have the permit here in Medellin before you can even start your travels. And we really struggled to explain it to them that, look, our itinerary is from Medellin to Bogota, Bogota to Sao Paulo. In Bogota, we are actually leaving Colombia, and we are going there to take care of this expert permit and to get all the papers sorted out. But for some reason, they just didn't want to budge. So we said, okay, can we speak to a manager? And there was a lot of discussion happening, and at all of this time, everybody else was passing, going through the gate and getting on the plane, and I was just looking at my watch minute by minute that we are getting closer and closer to our flight, and we're not getting on the plane. I think 5 minutes before they closed or before the flight, actually, not before they closed the gate, the manager came. And we explained to her that, listen, when we did the check-in, there was no issue. We mentioned to them that we have all the documents, and if it needs to be stamped again, in Bogota, we will take care of it. We have 2 hours. And she insisted that, no, you won't have enough time in Bogota, but if you want to take the risk, at the end, she was convinced, or she let us just get on the plane. I said, look, I don't want to miss this plane. Let me go there, I take the chance. So we flew to Bogota, and like the whole flight we were so nervous that, oh my god, okay, there's a huge uncertainty waiting for us at Bogota airport when we arrived. And we just said, okay, when we get there, we have to plan, we have to know where to go, the strategic plan for, like, as if we were going into a war zone, that, okay, find where we have to go, we run to that place and we take care of this. Then we arrived.
In Bogota at the airport, we found out that the agricultural office is in the other side of the airport. So we had our carry-ons, our personal bags, and our dog with us, and we had to run to the other side of the airport to actually be able to get to the office. Once we get there, after running through everything, and the airports are always huge, there was a lineup for the office, and then we freaked out because okay, we're gonna miss the flight, and that's it. Then we are in line, and then somebody from the office goes outside and starts checking the documents that we all have, and then he sees that we are flying very soon, and that we need to take care of the documents urgently. So he passed us in front of everybody. We go inside of the office, and then when he looks at all the documents, and then he says, okay, we have many issues. Everything was wrong, done wrong, and needs to be redone. And then he told us to call the clinic in Medellin, so the Medellin can correct all the documents and then send everything by email to his own email, so that we can take care. So that's what we did.
And just a little detail, we arrived at the airport in Bogota at 2 p.m. Because I think there was some delay also with our flight from Medellin. So we arrived at 2 p.m. and our next flight, which was an international flight also to Sao Paulo, was at 4 p.m. So imagine, we had this window and we went to that office to take care of everything, and they said, oh, there are mistakes all over this paper that the clinic gave you.
Then we called the clinic. The clinic had to call the vet who did all the documentation, so the vet can actually correct everything that was supposed to be corrected, and then send the documents by email to the office, to the agricultural office, or even to the person who was taking care of our documents in Bogota. So all of that was very, very nerve-wracking. We were extremely nervous and anxious because we didn't know if we were actually going to be able to take the next plane to São Paulo. So after more than 1 hour and a half, around an hour and a half, and a lot of phone calls to the vet, and then in the end we actually had to redo another document by hand at the office, and it was the document that is supposed to be shown to the agricultural office when we arrive in Brazil. So we had to redo everything by hand. And then there was another problem too, that the paper that is the export permit they were telling us that it was initiated in Medellin by the vet. So through that, we were supposed to have that document from Medellin, and it didn't happen. So what is happening now is that the people in Bogota, they have to initiate everything in Bogota as if the flight from Medellin never existed, or that we were not in Medellin. And then all of that is to be able to pay the fees for the export permit. and then the system can actually issue the export permit that we need to present at the check-in counter and at the gate. So after many situations and a lot of emails exchanged, and then us having to pay the fee in cash because somebody else in the office was actually paying the fee from their bank account, because apparently this export permit has to be paid from a Colombia bank account. Go figure. And then the person paid, and then we paid in cash to the person. And then in the end, at around 3:20 p.m., we were able to actually have the export permit paper.
So all this time, I was just, Mariana was dealing with the staff at the office, and I was just like looking at, there was a clock on the wall, and every minute I was just looking at this like clock, nervous, sweating, and our dog, poor thing, he had no idea, like, why are you guys so nervous? What is happening? And just really counting the minutes, because I knew by the time we finish everything, we still have a long wait or a lot of things to go through. We had to go through security, then go through passport check, then go to our gate, which we didn't know where it is. So at 2 p.m. we arrived at that office. By the time we finished all the paperwork, it was 3:20 p.m. Again, we grabbed everything and we just started running. And we just looked for the sign for immigration. I believe there was an escalator. We had to go to the second floor.
Yes.
And we just arrive at the beginning of the second floor, and then I just looked, I was like, oh my God, more lineups. Huge lineup to go through immigration. And the first staff at the airport that I saw over there, I asked them, I said, is there any fast lane? Because we have our flight in like half an hour and we're gonna miss our flight. And they said, no, everybody has to just stay here. I was like, oh my God, like again, we were counting the minutes, and you know how the airports are. The ropes go and the lines, they go like here, back and forth. And I could see the beginning of the line, but we had like, we went around like many times. And then it was, I think, 3:40 that we had one more line to go through and then get to the front. And there was a gentleman, he was extremely nice. I believe they were Colombian, because they didn't speak English and our Spanish was not very good either. But I could make him understand that, look, our flight is late. Do you mind if I just go in front of you? And he was very nice. He said, yeah, of course, go, like no problem. And to make the story short, we went through security, we went through the passport check, we got out, and we asked the number of our gate. I really don't remember, but I said, where is it? The people at the security said, yeah, when you get out, go right. Okay. We ran again right to go to the gate, and then like I go to somebody at the gate, I'm like sweating, I'm like running, I was like, Sao Paulo, and the person at the gate, he just got like scared. No, it's not here, it's over there. I'm like, what? Which one? It was the wrong gate, so we had to run back again, go to the opposite direction to get to our gate. Basically, we got there at 3:55 p.m. and the lady at the gate, where have you been? I was like, yeah, lady, I wanted to be late just for entertainment. Believe me, I didn't plan any of this, but we were like really lucky, because I think they had almost finished boarding and she was about to close the gate. Like if we were late,
the gate was closed.
Yeah, it's true actually. Yes, the gate was like closed, so she had to actually call the people and tell them, look, wait, there are two people. Don't close the door of the aircraft. And she just scanned our boarding passes and said, just run. We ran, and as soon as we sat down, we left the gate. So it was very nerve-wracking, but we managed to do it, and then we arrived in Brazil.
once we arrived in Brazil, I was prepared. I had all the documents since like it took us such a hard work to get all the documents. And then I was going through all the airports in São Paulo to see where should I check in with somebody to actually see my dog, and then I can show all the documents that was so painful to get them. So, and then there was nobody. This was around at 1 a.m. and there was nobody. Then I just asked some people and they just said, no, continue walking, you can walk, there is no need to stop anywhere. So in the end, the thing is like nobody checked anything in Brazil. And the whole problem that was caused in Colombia was basically for nothing.
Yeah.
Basically, the only not lesson that I take from it, but recommendation: have your papers ready from before your first flight. So if we had the right papers in Medellin before and the flight in Medellin, we wouldn't have any of this problem and we wouldn't need to go through all the stress that we went through. So in Colombia, make sure that you have the right papers before your flight, and don't wait like to go to the second flight and then go take care of the papers, because it's very short in time. You may not be able to actually board the next plane because it's very stressful, and in the end I think it was just mostly because of the 52,000 pesos that we're supposed to pay for the fees.
Yeah, there was some problems also, or maybe mistakes that we made, because they told us also when you arrived in Colombia, you arrived in Bogota. Then we traveled to Cartagena. From Cartagena we went to Medellin. Then to leave Colombia, we flew from Medellin to Bogota and then Bogota to Sao Paulo. So they were telling us, listen, you entered Colombia in Bogota, but then you got your health certificate for your dog in Medellin, and then you're leaving the country again from Bogota. So this was another confusion that we had to deal with, that why you got the certificate in Medellin, but then you will be leaving the country from Bogota, which I really think is not a big deal. But that was another issue we had to deal with. That being said, in the whole process, honestly, except the staff at the gate, the staff of Avianca at the gate in Medellin that were a little bit strict and did not really try to cooperate, except their manager. The other people, honestly, like the people at the agricultural office in Bogota, poor thing, there were 3 people. They stopped everything. They were only working on our flight. Even other people that were in line, most of them, they said, oh no, our flight is like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Nobody made a big deal that, oh, they were just helping us, and they really made sure that, okay, we finish it, so hopefully you can make it for your flight. That was really, really appreciated. Like, we were really happy. I didn't know how to thank them. Like, oh my God, thank you so much. They were very helpful. But again, as Mariana said, there is always lessons to be learned.
Yes, so get your papers from the first flight.
Yeah.
If your flight is international in Colombia, from the first flight, not the second one, actually the flight that you're getting out of the country. So that was the lesson that we learned. Have everything ready way before.
So that's it for this video. We hope that you enjoyed the video and you avoid having any issues that we had to deal with while traveling with our dog. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, drop us a like, and stay tuned for more videos like this as we travel more with our dog.